I accidentally found, I don't know where I found it, where Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra, he was appearing on a White House virtual convening on equity summit. And in that summit, almost 45 minutes into that summit, he was talking about the COVID-19 vaccine, and he said, quote, "We know these vaccines are killing people of color, blacks, Latinos, indigenous people at about 2 times the rate of white Americans." Apollo, when I heard that.
He said that?
He actually said that.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Quality data, better collection methodology, so we could actually figure out where we needed to go rather than wait for you to come to us. Secondly, by having better data, we could do a couple of things. Vaccines, a year ago today, by the way, we know that vaccines are killing people of color, blacks, Latinos, indigenous people at about 2 times the rate of white Americans. So on vaccines last year, we saw that about 2/3 of white American adults had received at least 1 shot of vaccine.
That's a question that somebody has to ask him. Quite naturally, I asked why. I had to rewind it and play that over and over and over again. And after reversing it a minute or so behind that particular mark where he said it, he was clearly talking about the COVID-19 vaccine. He was clearly, that was the context. He says, "I know these vaccines are killing people."
Especially blacks, indigenous, and Latinos?
Blacks, Latinos, indigenous people at about 2 times the rate of white Americans. When I share that with an all-white audience, I share it with them, say, look, if you analyze Becerra's quote, he said, quote, "We know these vaccines are killing people, period."
Period. That's it.
I don't care what color you are.
Right.
But he said blacks, Latinos, indigenous people at 2 times the rate of white Americans. Okay. I reviewed that video many times since then. And by the way, it's still on the White House's YouTube channel.
So it's not fake, it's not AI?
No, it's still there. It has not. It's part of the public record. It has not been retracted. It's still there. Okay, so I looked at the reaction of the people in the room virtually.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Secretary for their Housing and Urban Development, Marsha Fudge. She was in the room, a black woman, by the way. Solana Young, a budget advisor, policy advisor, I don't remember her title, another black woman. Susan Rice. She was close to President Obama. She was also in the room, another black woman. And then they had an interpreter. She was white. And I when I played it back many times, Apollo, I looked at their body language. Nobody looked shocked. Nobody had a surprised look on their face. No one kind of indicated, wait a minute, Secretary Becerra.
What did you just say?
What did you just say? Did you misspeak?
Yes.
Would you like to back that up and sit, can you expand on that?
Yeah.
Nobody had that kind of reaction.
So it's either A, they were not listening to him, or B, they knew it?
That's a good question. I suspect, and I'm careful to state this, but there's a book called The Pfizer Papers by Dr. Naomi Wolf
Never heard it.
and Amy Kelly. And in the development of that particular book, they learned that there were some people in the administration who knew back in 2021 that the vaccines were killing people. I don't know about blacks, Latinos, indigenous people at 2 times the rate of white Americans, but they knew. And Rochelle Walensky, who is in charge of the Centers for Disease Control and and Prevention, CDC.
CDC.
She knew. And I talked to Amy Kelly, who worked with Dr. Naomi Wolf with this Pfizer papers. And we exchanged text more than a year ago because I asked specifically, did Javier Becerra, is there any email indication that Javier Becerra also knew that these vaccines, and they, at that time when I asked that question more than a year ago, the response was, we don't know. I suspect so, because otherwise, why would he say that?
But that was prior to the vaccine rollout or after?
He said this on April 14th, 2022.
Was it the
So it was after the vaccine rollout. The emails where Rochelle Walensky and others in the administration knew that the vaccines were killing people was in 2021, a year before. So
Okay, so what did you do? When you heard that, you were
after the
shocked.
shock wore off,
Okay.
you know, I wrote another email, and basically I pulled the email that I drafted included the link, the YouTube link from the White House's YouTube channel that had that Becerra quote. I indicated the timestamp in that email, and I went to the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, theirs,
Yes.
and that basically shows data regarding all vaccines, but the particular link that I shared had to do with the COVID-19 vaccine. And in that particular, so this is April of 2022, there were more than 26,000 people across the United States who died after taking the COVID-19 vaccine, according to theirs. And then there's a whole list of 10 categories, a lot of multisyllabic medical terms, but phrases that we can understand or terms that we can understand are people getting strokes, heart attacks, seizures, sudden deaths,